I heard they found her wandering the old roads barefoot.
On the old roads?
Yes, they say she was all alone.
Wandering alone?
I can't believe the once proud Nneka has been reduced to nothing.
Nneka, who once rode in the finest carriages. Nneka, whose name meant Mother is Supreme. She had nothing left, not even her shadow, they said. It all began the night she entered the Forbidden Grove. In a village nestled between two rivers, there lived a young woman named Nneka. She was a trader's daughter, but her father had died owing debt to every merchant in 3 villages. They seized everything, the shop, the goods, even the pots in the kitchen. All that remained was a small, crumbling market stall her mother had registered in Nneka's name before she too passed away. Every morning, Nneka carried a tray of groundnuts and peppers on her head to the market. She arranged them neatly on a worn mat. Other traders had colorful stalls bursting with fabrics, spices, and dried fish. Their voices boomed across the square. Nneka sat at the far edge, near the gutter, where customers rarely walked. She made barely enough to eat once a day. Some days not even that. The other traders whispered when she passed, "That one carries her father's debt like a disease." Even the women who had called her mother's sister crossed to the other side of the market when they saw her coming. One evening, after selling nothing the entire day, Nneka did not walk home. She instead wandered into the forest beyond the village, the one the elders warned children about. The trees there were ancient, their roots rising from the earth like the fingers of buried giants. No bird sang inside. She sat beneath the oldest tree, a silk cotton tree so wide that 10 men could not link arms around. She was too tired to cry. Then the back of the tree shifted. A figure stepped out from within the trunk as though the wood were water. A woman, or something shaped like a woman, stood. Her skin was the deep red of fresh clay. Her eyes held the slow patience of centuries. Vines coiled gently through her hair like living ornaments. When she moved, leaves rustled somewhere far above. Nneka scrambled backward, her voice caught in her throat. The figure spoke. Her voice sounded like wind passing through a hollow trunk. "I am the keeper of this grove. I have watched you walk past my trees every evening carrying nothing home. I have counted your tears. I can change your fortune." She held out a small carved wooden box. Inside, it was a single seed, black as midnight, warm to the touch. "Plant this seed in the earth behind your market stall. From it will grow a tree that bears fruit in every season. The fruit will taste different to every tongue, like the thing each person desires most. You will never lack for customers." Nneka reached for the box, but the spirit continued. "Every full moon, you must return to this grove and bury 1/3 of your earnings beneath this tree. The earth must eat before you do. This is the law." She paused and her ancient eyes narrowed. "And you must never sell the tree itself, not its wood, not its bark, not its roots. The tree is not yours. It is mine, planted in your care. Do you understand?" Nneka nodded. She understood hunger. She understood desperation. She would have agreed to anything. "I understand, Great Mother. I will honor the law." She planted the seed the next morning behind her stall. By the 3rd day, a sapling had pushed through the cracked concrete. By the 10th day, it was taller than Nneka herself. By the end of the month, it bore fruit, round, golden, and fragrant. The scent drifted through the entire market like a whispered invitation. The first customer was an old woman who bit into the fruit and began to weep. "It tastes like my mother's soup, the one she made before she died. How is this possible?" She bought every fruit Nneka had and told her neighbors. The next day, there was a line at Nneka's store before the sun rose. A young man tasted the fruit and said it was cold palm wine on a hot day. A child said it tasted like chin-chin and honey. A pregnant woman said it tasted like rain. Each person experienced something different, something they had been missing, something they longed for. Within 2 months, Nneka's store became the most popular in the market. She moved from the gutter corner to the center row. She hired 2 young girls to help her sell. She cleared her father's debts, every single one. The merchants who had seized her family's property now came to her stall smiling, calling her "my dear daughter." Every full moon, Nneka walked into the grove alone. She counted her earnings carefully, divided them into 3 equal portions, dug a hole at the base of the silk cotton tree and buried it. Every time, the earth accepted it silently. By morning, the hole would be smooth and undisturbed, as if the ground had swallowed it whole. Within 3 years, Nneka had built a proper shop, the largest in the market. She had 5 employees. She rented storage rooms. She began exporting the fruits to neighboring towns in special clay containers that kept them fresh. She married Chukwuemeka, a quiet, honest carpenter. He built her shelves and crates and never asked too many questions about the tree. They had a daughter named Adiaze, the king's daughter, because by then, Nneka was treated like royalty. She built a fine house with a generator and a borehole. She sponsored 3 children's school fees. She donated benches to the village church. The chief called her Daughter of Progress at the New Yam Festival. And every full moon, she went to the grove and buried her portion in the earth. For 5 years, Nneka kept her word faithfully. In the 6th year, Nneka stood in the grove staring at the money in her hands. It was her largest earnings yet. She counted the portion meant for the earth. "This money could renovate my shop. I could tile the floors and add air conditioning. Customers would stay longer. I'd make even more." She looked at the silk cotton tree. It stood silent as always. She buried only half of what she owed. The earth accepted it without complaint. She waited, her heart knocking against her ribs. 1 minute, 5, 10, nothing happened. She exhaled. She picked up the remaining money and walked home without looking back. By the 7th year, she buried only a quarter of what was due. She told herself she would make it up next season. By the 8th year, she sent one of her workers to bury a small envelope. She didn't even go herself. By the 9th year, she had stopped going entirely. But it was what happened in the 10th year that sealed her fate. A wealthy businessman from the city visited her shop, Chief Okafor, a man whose name opened doors in the capital. He tasted the fruit and his eyes widened. He set down the fruit slowly, as if handling something sacred. "Madam, what tree produces this? I must have it. I am building a luxury resort. This fruit alone would make it the most exclusive destination in the country. Name your price." Nneka hesitated. She heard the spirit's voice in her memory, faint and distant. "You must never sell the tree itself." But Chief Okafor named a figure. Then he doubled it. Then he tripled it. It was more money than Nneka had made in 10 years combined. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay beside her husband and stared at the ceiling fan going round and round. The spirit hasn't come in years, she thought. The tree has been mine for a decade. I planted it. I watered it. I built everything around it. She gave me a seed, one seed. Everything else was my hard work. By morning, she had convinced herself. She called Chief Okafor. "I'll sell, but you must uproot the tree entirely, roots and all, and you must do it before the next full moon." The crew arrived 3 days later with machines and trucks. The tree resisted at first. The roots ran deeper than anyone expected, deeper than the foundations of the market, deeper than the water table. It took 12 men and a crane 2 days to extract it. When the last root was pulled from the earth, a sound echoed through the market, low and long, like a groan from deep underground. Everyone stopped. A few of the workers crossed themselves. Nneka pretended not to hear. The tree was loaded on a flatbed truck and driven away. Chief Okafor transferred the money. Nneka watched the numbers appear on her phone screen. She smiled. That night, the full moon rose pale and enormous. Nneka was in her living room counting the money she would invest when the lights went out. Not just in her house, in the entire village. The generator sputtered, the borehole pump seized, even the candles she lit flickered and went dark, as if the air itself refused to carry flame. Then she heard it. Footsteps, not outside, inside the walls, inside the floor. The front door opened on its own. The forest spirit stood in her doorway, but she was changed. Her clay red skin was cracked and flaking, like drought-stricken earth. The vines in her hair were brown and brittle. Her eyes, those ancient, patient eyes, burned like embers pulled from a dying fire. Where is my tree? Nneka's legs fell beneath her. She dropped to the floor. Great Mother, I can explain. I can buy another tree. I can plant 100 trees. Where is my tree? The walls shook.
I kept you fed when the world forgot you existed. I gave you a gift that cost me a part of myself. Every fruit that tree bore carried a piece of my spirit. And you sold it. You sold it like firewood. She raised both hands. Roots, black, thick and ancient, erupted from the ground beneath Nneka's house. They cracked the tile floors. They split the walls. They wrapped around the furniture, the generator, the refrigerator, the television, everything Nneka owned, and dragged it downward into the earth. The money in Nneka's bank account? Every transaction reversed. Every transfer failed. Every digital record corrupted as if it had never existed. Her fine clothes turned to dust on her body. Her jewelry blackened and crumbled. Her shoes lotted off her feet. You owed me 1/3 of your fortune every full moon for 10 years. You stopped paying after 5. That is 5 years of debt. But the tree was never yours to sell. That debt has no price. She looked at Nneka with something that might once have been sorrow. So I would take what has no price. I would take your gift. She pressed one cracked finger to Nneka's forehead. A warmth drained from behind Nneka's eyes. The spark that made people trust her. The voice that made buyers listen. The instinct that told her what to sell and when and how. Her gift for trade. The thing that was truly hers even before the tree evaporated like dew in the morning sun. Nneka screamed, but no sound came out. The spirit sank into the earth and was gone. By morning, the house was a ruin. The shop had collapsed into a sinkhole. The stall in the market was just an empty patch of cracked concrete with a deep hole where the tree had stood. Chukwuemeka stood in the rubble, holding Adaeze, staring at the woman he had married who now sat in the dust, barefoot, vacant-eyed, unable to explain. He stayed for 3 months. He tried. He rebuilt a small table and helped her sell groundnuts, the way she had started. But Nneka could no longer trade. She priced things wrong. She forgot customers' faces. She couldn't calculate change. The gift was gone. Customers avoided her. They said her stall felt cold. Chukwuemeka took Adaeze to his mother's house one evening. He said he'd come back for Nneka when things improved. They both knew he wouldn't. For 1 full year, Nneka returned to the grove every full moon. She brought money, borrowed, begged, scraped together. She dug holes and buried it at the base of the stump where the silk cotton tree had stood. The earth never accepted it. Each time she returned to find the money sitting on the surface, untouched, sometimes covered in a fine layer of red dust, as if the ground had spat it back. On the 13th month, she brought no money. She brought only herself. She knelt before the stump and pressed her forehead to the earth. I don't ask for my gift back. I don't ask for the tree. I ask only that you forgive me, so I can sleep without hearing roots growing beneath my bed. The grove was silent. A single leaf, green and fresh, fell from nowhere and landed on the stump. When Nneka reached for it, it crumbled to dust in her fingers. She understood. Some debts once broken cannot be repaid. Some doors once closed do not reopen. They found her wandering the old roads barefoot. Nneka, who once rode in the finest carriages. Some say she still goes to the grove every full moon, kneeling before an empty stump, whispering to earth that will not listen. The elders tell her story now at the market when young traders get greedy. They say, "The spirit does not punish you for being poor. The spirit punishes you for forgetting who fed you when you were." A borrowed gift held with ungrateful hands will always return to its true owner.